This is TomoNews for Wednesday, November 30th. Scammers are shaving cats to pass them off as a more expensive breed. An animal lover who paid 700 Canadian dollars for a highly prized hairless sphynx cat said she was horrified when the kitten later sprouted fur. Alberta woman Joanne Dyke's story prompted others who'd also been duped to come forward, suggesting there's at least one rogue breeder out there, shaving cats and passing them off as sphinxes. Joanne's catastrophic experience began when she agreed to buy Vlad the kitten from an online vendor living more than 300 miles away. No problem, the seller insisted. A friend would drop the little guy off. But when Vlad failed to get along with Joanne's other cat, she sold him to another owner. Vlad's current owner was sad to see he hated to be petted and spent a lot of time crying, so she took him to a vet. The vet said Vlad had cuts on his skin, caused by razor burns or hair removal gel, and his tail had become infected. The woman took Vlad home, and about a week later, he'd grown a full coat of orange hair. Calls to the original seller went unanswered because the number was now out of service. Two other women, also from Alberta, said they too had fallen victim to the hairless cat scam. One of the women said she thought she was getting a bargain when she bought a purebred sphynx for $650, because they usually go for almost twice that. But within a few weeks, the kitten was covered in black fur. The women warned that their tales should serve as a lesson to others, and advised potential buyers that if a seller won't let you come to their house, then the deal is probably too good to be true. Canadian man brutally beats Taiwanese girlfriend on Taipei Street. Netizens in Taiwan are questioning why a college student won't leave her middle-aged foreign boyfriend after footage of him beating her up in the street made the TV news. According to reports, the student is a 24-year-old woman surnamed Chen. Her boyfriend was described as a 40-year-old Canadian man named Dennis, who teaches English at a cram school. They were seen bickering around midnight on Wednesday, November 16th. In the middle of what appeared to be a heated argument, Chen took off. That's when Dennis did this. Witnesses told Taiwan's Zhongtian television that he dragged her to the side of the road to continue the assault. Local newspaper Apple Daily published photos of a paper bag Chen had dropped. Police arrived and broke up the altercation. They arrested Dennis and took him to the station for questioning. Chen was taken to a local hospital for treatment. But this is not the first time Dennis has been to the police station for abusing Chen, according to reports in the local media that have been independently confirmed by TomoNews. Chen's parents told police she wants to marry Dennis and that she will not press charges. Her parents said they felt they had no choice but to give them their blessing. Taiwanese newspapers covered the incident with headlines such as, "Taiwanese girl gets knocked out by foreign boyfriend in public, still wants to marry him." And, "True love? Taiwanese girl gets knocked out by middle-aged foreign boyfriend." The media, however, referred to Chen, using a derogatory term for an Asian woman who's predominantly attracted to Western white males. Under Taiwanese law, in non-domestic cases, the aggressor can be pardoned by the victim or the victim's family if they agree to a settlement. White woman angered by $1 bag fee cries discrimination. A crazy customer had a 45-minute meltdown at a Michael's craft store in Chicago the night before Thanksgiving, and it was all caught on video. The woman was apparently triggered by an offer of a $1 reusable bag for her purchases and began shouting at the poor cashier. Jessie Grady, who was in the store with her daughter, heard the verbal tirade and took out her phone to record the woman, who then huffily announced that she'd voted for Trump. When the store manager tried to intervene, the crazy woman turned on her for not reprimanding the cashier, who she claimed screamed at her like an animal. Throughout her epic rant, the shopper repeatedly accused the two African-American employees of discriminating against her for being white and pro-Trump. Soon, her attention turned to the bystanders filming her, and she called Grady out for not siding with her as a fellow white woman. The woman repeatedly called the cops, though so did most of the other customers. She eventually left before authorities arrived. Grady's video was uploaded on YouTube and has since gotten more than 2 million views. She also made a GoFundMe page for the manager, who bore the brunt of the attack and needed a bit of holiday cheer. The page has since raised more than $19,000, well past its original goal of $400. Delta bans disruptive Trump supporter for life. 21-year-old Emma Baum found herself thrust under the national spotlight after sharing a 45-second video, which features a man on a Delta flight loudly voicing his support for President-elect Donald Trump. Baum, who lives in Belize, posted the video to Facebook with the caption, "Didn't take long to notice that I'm back in America." Baum told local Pennsylvania news publication The Morning Call that she was traveling home to visit family when she first noticed the man in the boarding area chanting that Trump would make America great again. Emma was seated near the man on the plane, and before the flight took off, she asked him about the presidential election. This is when he got really riled up, encouraging her to film him, as he shouted at other passengers that Trump was the president and that for anyone who didn't like it, too bad.
You can't hear me! Donald Trump, baby! That's right, this man knows what's up! We got some Hillary bitches on here? Come on, baby! Trump! That's what I'm talking about.
A flight attendant got involved and took the disruptive Trump supporter off the plane. But he wasn't gone for long and was allowed to return later. Luckily for the rest of the passengers, he made no other outbursts during the rest of the flight. After the video went viral online, many commenters voiced their dismay over the fact that the man, who is white, was still allowed to fly. They noted that passengers who are Muslim, Sikh, African American, and/or of other faiths and ethnicities have in the past not been given such leniency, even when they've behaved normally. After reviewing the case, Delta Airlines said other travelers on that particular flight would receive refunds for their tickets, adding that the man was disrespectful to his fellow passengers and would be banned from taking the airline's flights forever.
Dog missing for a year reunites with family at Thanksgiving. This German Shepherd mix, Ruby, had the best Thanksgiving of all. In October 2015, Ruby went missing. Only 7 months old at the time, the puppy's owners say a neighbor had left the gate open. The couple posted flyers around the neighborhood, searching everywhere for their lost dog, but there was no trace of her. The wife, Zana, was 8 months pregnant, and she and her husband Val inevitably had to refocus their attention on their new baby. Over a year later, Zana was scrolling through photos on a Sacramento animal shelter's Facebook page when she spotted a familiar face. Upon closer inspection, the resemblance was unmistakable. They could tell by the way she turned her head that was their girl Ruby. The couple immediately ran to pick her up, and just in time for Thanksgiving, the family reunion was complete. A newborn baby and their young canine companion in tow, Zana and Val have never had so much to be grateful for.
Tech giant worker jumps over the edge. An Amazon employee was recovering in a Seattle hospital this week after leaping from a company building in a failed suicide attempt. The man sent a scathing email to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos and CC'd hundreds of coworkers on Monday morning, then attempted to proceed to the checkout. Despite falling 20 feet onto a balcony, the man survived with non-life-threatening injuries. This will once again shine a spotlight on Amazon's hyper-demanding work culture after a New York Times investigation last year exposed the company's data-driven approach to overworking employees like Ambot mules. Jeff Bezos has become one of the world's richest men on the back of Amazon's success. But that success has come at a cost for some of his employees. The Amazon worker who jumped on Monday had asked for a transfer to another department, but was instead put on an employee improvement plan. According to a former employee who was put on the plan, when she revealed she had breast cancer, that was Amazon's code for "you're in danger of being fired." Amazon disputed the New York Times depiction of the company as an unforgiving workplace that pushed employees over the edge and had reportedly taken measures to soften its image. But when your staff are quite literally pushed over the edge, perhaps it's time to take another look at your employment policies. Otherwise, everyone will just think you're a real am-hole. More than 70 dead on flight that was carrying Brazil football team. A plane carrying Brazilian soccer team Chapecoense crashed in the mountains less than 20 miles from its destination on Monday night, killing 75 people on board. The chartered British Aerospace Avro JR-85 plane was carrying 72 passengers and 9 crew members. It was en route from Santa Cruz, Bolivia to Medellin, Colombia, when it crashed about 18 miles from its destination. Reports say there may have been turbulence due to intermittent thunderstorms and winds at the time of the crash, but no major storms were recorded. The Medellin airport said pilots had declared an emergency, citing electrical failures, before losing contact. The last tracking signal of the plane shows it was at 15,500 feet, and the pilot circled the plane in a possible attempt to drop off fuel before crashing. The plane crashed in mountainous terrains near Medellin and broke apart upon impact, but it did not catch fire. According to Reuters, the survivors of the crash include players on the team, a journalist, and 2 flight crew members. This is what the airport of the future might look like. A UK company has released a concept of what airports will be like by the year 2040, and they look a whole lot more efficient and passenger-friendly than today's airports. In the future, airline passengers will be expected to check in via self-service desks, which include biometric scanners that can scan passengers' facial features, iris patterns, and fingerprints in order to verify their identities. After check-in, a biometric token will be issued and stored in the passenger's smartphone. This serves as a boarding pass and ID. Luggage can be checked in at drop-off points. Laser molecular body scanners can detect even tiny quantities of dangerous materials in the passenger's clothing or their luggage without the need for a body search. Passengers may buy duty-free goods from virtual shopping stations and have the goods delivered to their homes. Airports in the future may need to expand their runways and parking facilities to cope with the increasing size of aircraft and the number of passengers. Airport control is likely to be operated remotely from outside the airport, with staff monitoring live video footage of the facility. Upon arrival, passengers will be notified when their luggage is ready for collection. When an airport enters the full self-service phase, passengers will get help from virtual assistants. And in fact, many such technologies are already being implemented. For example, biometric scanners are currently being trialed at Heathrow and Schiphol airports.